On today's episode, we have Cian on to talk about his farm in Spain while he grew up in Australia. We talk about how he gets to Spain, why he's there, and getting his farm started. Also, how he's making a full-time income with small acreage. It's a really good episode. I think you're going to enjoy it. You're listening to the Grazing Grass Podcast, where every conversation starts from the ground up. I'm your host, Cal Hardage. Calling all ranchers, if you're looking for a better way to optimize your grazing operation and rev up your bottom line, Noble Research Institute can help. Noble's team of ranch managers and researchers work together to find solutions to your challenges. They don't just give you the answers. They help you understand how to apply the research-tested and field-proven principles on your ranch. Visit noble.org and click the Find a Course button for information about online and in-person educational courses near you. For 10 seconds about the farm, last week we sold our lambs. Last year I didn't do a good job with pulling my rams out, so our lambing season was extended and not quite when we wanted it, but we got lambs in the other day and basically sold all the lambs, and they sold really good, so I was very pleased with that. For 10 seconds about the podcast, for Grazing Grass Insiders, we have our monthly Zoom coming up on the 19th. So you want to check that out. Also for insiders, you want to check out the Famous Four Vault, where you can go search all the answers from all the past episodes. So Cian, we welcome you to the Grazing Grass Podcast. We're excited you're here today. To get started, let's start a little bit different today. 4 years ago, you went to Spain. How'd you end up in Spain?
Love. Stupid love.
I think that's the answer for so many journeys in life.
Yeah. It's about 10 years ago, I met Inez in Melbourne, which is the city I'm from. It's a small fishing village in Australia. And rocked my world, committed, got married, and we were kind of in our late 20s doing that lifestyle arbitrage that I think everyone went through during COVID. What do you want? How do you want to live?
Oh, yeah.
We always knew we wanted to have kids together, but it just wasn't going to work in Melbourne. We weren't going to be able to kind of live the life that we wanted to. So right before COVID happened, we were kind of planning on moving us and our dogs to Amsterdam, getting office jobs there, seeing where life took us. And then during COVID, I just went down these rabbit holes. It all kind of started with Jean-Martin Fortier, who's like a French market gardener from... Well, the style of market gardening is the French style. He's from Quebec in Canada. And I sat through like a 6-hour lecture series. And I think him and probably Richard Perkins have been my North Stars.
Oh, yes.
In how I got into agriculture. And they're the only guys who are really putting out numbers. And I'm pretty number heavy. Like, it's got to work on paper before you can kind of, bet the house on it.
Right. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And so during COVID, we couldn't get out of Australia. We had our tickets bought to fly to Amsterdam. And then we spent 2 years researching agriculture, and I was talking to Inez a little bit more every night. I think we could do this. It'd be a pretty cool lifestyle for the kids. And by the end of that 2 years, we were going to move to Spain. Her mum had a little bit of property from her parents. And it was on the other side of Spain, on the east coast in Aragon, well, inland from the east coast, just below Barcelona. So we got here, had the dogs, sold all my possessions, immigrated to Spain, got there, wasn't really what we were promised. I think we spent 4 days in that town where her mum's from, and we were like, we need a new plan. So got here, rough beginnings, went back to Barcelona, where Inez is from, bought a car, moved to the other side of Spain. We're in Galicia now, which is it's the region of Spain just on top of Portugal.
Oh, okay.
So think temperate, mild, Atlantic Ocean-driven weather system. Very green, very wet, rarely gets below -5 in winter, rarely gets above 32, 35 in summer. That's all Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Summer.
So 35, what's that? Probably 100 degrees here, and -5 is probably
I think 0 degrees is 32
yeah.
Fahrenheit.
So that's probably like 10 degrees here, I think.
35 C2.
14 degrees is -10.
So never above 95.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Very
yeah.
mild.
Actually, those low 30s are cooler than I thought they were. Oh, so nice weather.
Yeah. Like, I'd say grass never really stops growing here.
Oh.
It just slows down.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the precipitation level there?
So annually, we're on about 1,400 mil a year, and that's 55 inches.
Oh, so a good amount of rain too. Yeah.
It's wet.
Ye-
It's always raining.
Yeah. Did you and Inez grow up in agriculture? Was she
No, not
from
at all.
Spain, you from Australia?
Yeah, so I grew up in Melbourne until I was about 12, and then I moved to regional Victoria, did 12 to 18, so that's high school for me. When I was a teenager, it was the millennium drought in Australia, and it was an awful time for agriculture. So that was never really sold as an option, and to be honest,
Yeah.
I had no interest in it either. My dad's family in Ireland, his brother Patrick still has our family farm. My grandfather was a cattle trader, and that's basically what my Uncle Patrick does. And I guess like you watch farms on TV, and there's a lot of romance to it.
Yes.
But when you've got a cow shed 60 meters out the back, there's nothing romantic about cow dung on concrete. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Inez's mum, kind of the same situation as my dad, grew up on a farm, escaped the farm, moved to the city. So we're both one generation removed from the farm, I guess.
Yeah.
But neither of our upbringings are remotely agriculture based.
So let's jump back to Melbourne. You all met there?
Yeah. So Inez did a double degree at ESMOD in Paris. She studied fashion design and marketing. Did a summer internship in Barcelona. And after that, got a visa to go to Australia for a year. And that's how we met.
Oh, very nice. And then,
Yeah.
so that takes us to that first part of the story you mentioned. During COVID, y'all were looking around, had thought about Amsterdam, ended up in Spain because of some family connection there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a smooth landing there.
No.
At that time, when you went to Spain, were you thinking agriculture?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what got you to the point that you were like, I need to go find a farm or start a farm?
Yeah. So prior to COVID, we had booked tickets to fly to Europe to go get office jobs in Amsterdam. Lockdown in Melbourne for 2 years during COVID. Went deep down the rabbit hole of YouTube, listening to farmers, that 6-hour lecture series from Jean-Martin Fortier. Then I found Richard Perkins, found Mark Shepard, found Greg Judy,
Yes.
the usual suspects,
Right.
the blokes that sell the dream. And by the end of that 2 years, the vision completely changed. We were going to move to Spain. We were going to start a direct-to-consumer vegetable farm, and then eventually from there buy a big farm, like big house, big bit of land. That was always the dream.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So you get to Spain.
So we get to Spain. We go right inland to Aragon, to the bit of land her mum had. Did not work out. Wasn't what we were promised. Didn't really see us making it there. So we doubled back to Barcelona, bought a car. We went to the other side of Spain where her father lived in Vigo. And their family had an apartment there that we failed to get jobs in for 6 weeks when we were living there.
Oh, no.
And it was getting desperate, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Just no ability to get jobs. Nothing was working. And so Inez came up with the idea that we would go and volunteer on this guy's farm inland in Galicia. And this is our mate Jose. So we worked on his farm for a month. and you kind of got like a stipend and accommodation.
Oh, okay.
And he has a farm where he milks about 100 head of dairy cow extensively. So they're always outside. He doesn't have sheds. He turned his father's dairy shed, which had about 30, 40 cows in it, into a cheese factory and a milk processing plant. And then he has a mobile milk parlour that he brings out to the cows every day, milks them only once a day, and does a pasture change once or twice a day. He also runs Galician pigs, and he runs chickens as well. And when we were there, that's kind of when everything went from paper to reality. And I was like, I love this lifestyle. You know, springing out of bed in the morning,
Oh, yes.
getting up there at 7. We did 6 days a week for 4 weeks. And it was like, that's when everything started making sense. It was, I credit him like so much for just giving us a go, giving us that experience.
Opportunity, yeah.
Yeah. And the realization, like, yeah, I can do it. I can absolutely do it.
So finishing that time, you're like, we can do this.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
you make
Had
it
that belief.
reality?
So from that point, we got jobs and we moved to Lugo, which is the capital of the province that we're in, Lugo province, in the autonomous community of Galicia. We got there, we got jobs, we rented an apartment, and then for the next 6 months, we probably looked at about 50 different properties all across Galicia. Every weekend in the car, seeing 4 or 5 properties. And absolute, like, total waste of time, most of them. The photos are shocking, a lot of lies. You know, you get to some and the land's great, and then you get into the house and the ceiling's here
Oh, yes.
because they're medieval houses built for very small people.
And you're not what we would consider small.
No, I'm 191 centimeters, so not quite Cal, but almost there.
Pretty close, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're looking at
And-
these places. What's your criteria at that point? What are you looking for?
Oh, we probably had like a 35-point checklist, which is important. It's extremely
It
important
is.
to know exactly what you want.
It is. The
Right.
better you get that buy box, to borrow a term from real estate investing, knowing what you want really helps you through that journey.
Absolutely. So the big things for us were we wanted a property that was not surrounded by eucalyptus plantation. So the inland of Galicia, it's heavy forestry, heavy dairy.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, much to my surprise, I never thought I was going to see a gum tree again. And then I moved here and there is just swaths of eucalyptus plantation.
Oh, yes.
And it's the lowest value of trees you can grow, but it's the fastest return. So I think 25 years, you can cut down a stand of eucalyptus. So in the 60s, when the military dictatorship that governed Spain opened up the economy and all the John Deere tractors started coming in and they modernized their agriculture, there was a big flight from rural communities to the cities where the factories were.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so a lot of people here have bits and pieces of land that they can't farm commercially because they're too small. And that's led to like kind of how the forestry industry works here.
So on those small pieces of land, they encourage them to grow these trees, and
They're
able
trying-
to, because it's a big.
Trying to scuttle it, like the forest fires that we're getting here now with the climate change. I don't know if you've ever seen a eucalyptus forest go up, but it's pretty scary.
Oh, I have not.
The oil in them leaves, they just, yeah, it's an inferno.
Oh, I
So
imagine
I lived
so.
in regional Australia from 12 to 18, and bushfire season is a very scary time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so number one, didn't want to live around eucalyptus. We wanted to live within 10 minutes of a town that our children would go to school in,
Mhm.
and would kind of be where we were going to try and sell most of our produce. The aim was always to be direct to consumer. And other than that, we wanted to live somewhere pretty. We wanted sort of old growth forests. We wanted a couple of hectares of pasture, a couple of hectares of woodland. So kind of one of the things I always took from Jean-Martin Fortier and that whole market gardening system was small, lean, efficient. It's not about how big you can get. It's how much you can do with how little. even though we pivoted away from growing veggies, that was something that we always kind of kept in our minds. How efficient can you be on how small of a parcel?
Oh, yes.
So I think when I tell people in Australia that I'm on 15 acres and I'm making a full-time living out of it, they scratch their head. Like when I told my mates, hey, I bought the property, and they go, how big is it? I go, 15 acres. They go, how are you going to make a living out of that? But that's the beauty of direct-to-consumer.
And you would get the same response over here in the States, at least in the Western states where I am. 15 acres not enough to do anything. But
like I've got a mate, they just sold their family property, but they're on 500 hectares. So that's well over 1,000 acres.
Oh, yes.
And they're, I think towards the end, before they sold it, they were there were good years and bad years. And like in my mind, because I'm quite green, I think, how are you not generating that profit off that much land? But, you know, the bigger you get, the bigger costs you incur. The more staff you've got to get, you know, a dip in the markets or a spike in the price of oil, and you're just so vulnerable.
Right. And the other thing is the mindset. When you are thinking about this small acreage, and this is where I'm coming from. I could be completely wrong on this, but I feel like it's somewhat mindset in that when you think about small acreage, you're thinking about making every acre, every square foot, every square meter profitable. How's that going to work?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when people with more acreage, when they think about it, we're thinking about how to make this acre profitable rather than that square meter. And that makes a big difference on what you're looking at, because when I'm thinking acres, I'm thinking, okay, how many acres does it take to run a cow? How will that work? When you're thinking about a square meter, you're thinking maybe being extensive and considering larger livestock's not the best move right there. What can make some money on the smaller footprint?
Yeah, so I should probably mention that before I got here, I knew about the new farmers grant from the European Union. So this is an EU initiative where people who don't have any history in agriculture or have never owned a farm before can get a grant. So you're not paying the money back, they give it to you.
Yes.
There's a lot of strings attached, but they'll give it to you.
There always is.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Right.
So I came here with that in mind. Like I was going to qualify for that grant. They were going to give me enough. And I didn't really care what I did.
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm obligated to keep my production up for the 5 years, and then the clause is done. But for me, it's about the lifestyle. It's about time with family. It's about having a land, having a big house. That was always the dream. It might sound a bit materialistic, but you know, whatever. I don't mind.
It's your dream. You get to decide what your dream is. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I had to get rid of the chickens and the pigs tomorrow to farm alpacas or turkeys, I'd do it, as long as it's profitable.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I'm not really like, I hear a lot of fellas on these podcasts, and they talk about cows. It's cows like my granddad, cows like my dad. You know, I don't really mind. The animals are kind of like a means to an ends to me.
I get that, and I think that is great. Just bringing myself into this a little bit, I talk about Tom Lasseter's philosophy. You know, if an animal's not producing for you, you know, they need to go. She doesn't raise a calf every year, she goes. And it applies to other species of livestock. If that doe's not bringing in kids, if that ew's not bringing in lambs, then they need to go if you're in raising female livestock for reproduction. And I like to tell people I have income producing units. And that's a very hard or very, what's the right word? Very abstract, very unemotional word for it, for my female livestock out in the pasture producing. That cow is an income producing unit. That ewe is an income producing unit. And if an income producing unit stops producing income, then they don't suit my purpose. They're just a unit out there and I got to get rid of them. And I'm very good about that. I've sold some animals that I've raised that I thought were the greatest ever, and they didn't turn into an income producing unit. So they went to town. I'm very good about that. But the thought of not having cattle for me growing up around it is very difficult. And I'll be honest, over the last couple of years, I've really reduced my herd. And that's a conversation I have with my wife. I'm really, let's rephrase this. My cattle herd is at the smallest size it's been in a long time, and I'm wanting to build it back up. But I'm
the
very
beef
much
price
tied
gotta be
to the
incredible at the moment. Hey,
to the cattle. So I get what you're saying, because I'm guilty of that, even though I'm saying if an animal doesn't produce, it needs to go. But I'm tied to that species. Just an
I think,
interesting epiphany
when
for
it
me.
comes to the guys that I bought the dream off, it was all based on numbers and return on investment. So, like you hear it a lot in the guys that are the second, third generation. You can hear like the love of the men that taught them the way
Oh, yes.
of agriculture, like that lifestyle.
Right.
And for them, there's always that sentimentality to whether it's hogs or corn or cows. Like that's, I guess, where they get it from. And I'm in it for money.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm in it for heaps of money, but just enough.
Enough to live, survive, enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, if my child wants to start a bakery or a farm, I'd like to be able to help them get on their way.
Yeah.
That's what we all want, right?
Right. It is. It is. And sometimes we forget the income portion because we're so focused on the lifestyle.
Do we?
I think some people do.
Oh, mate.
I
It's
think
leaping in the back of my head.
I think there's a lot of farms over here that they have cattle because they love having cattle. Income's not their priority. They don't care if they go feed their animals,
But you have to own the
extra
land, or
feed.
if
They're
that
just
be the case, no?
they're just out here doing it. Tell me that again.
You would have to own the land
Oh,
for that to be the case.
I disagree. They do have an off the farm job. So they have funding coming in, but they can go buy the land and put
Right.
cattle on it, and off farm is funding it all, and they never look at it as this being a real business. And
Yeah,
I
right.
think that's kind of like you were talking about growing up. Agriculture wasn't really an option,
No.
just for a number of reasons, but a lot of people growing up here, full-time agriculture is not an option because of the size you have to get. You can't just do a small size and make money, which
Yeah.
is not the case, but a lot of people grow up with that belief.
Yeah, I don't know if this model could work in Australia because of the population density of Australia, much like the States.
Oh, yeah.
It's the new world. Everything's quite spread out.
Yes.
Whereas I live 8 minutes from a town of 10,000, and then I'm a 25-minute drive from a city of 100,000.
So you have a really nice market just within
Yeah.
30 minutes of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, my mother lives in a town of 10,000, and then to get to the next town over of 50,000, it's an hour drive.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's a 2.5 hour drive to Melbourne, but Melbourne's a city of 5.5 million. But
Yeah.
to get any of that land around Melbourne, where you would need to be if you wanted to do a direct-to-consumer operation like mine, it's not going to happen. The amount of money you'd have to spend to buy that land.
Oh, yeah.
And I think for how much we bought our property, that's almost how much you would need to have a deposit to buy a 3-bedroom house in Melbourne.
Oh, yes. Interesting.
Which-
yeah.
You can understand why I immigrated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And this new farmer grant, did I write down the
Yep.
name of that right?
Yeah, it's the new farmers grant from the EU. I'm happy to speak about numbers as well. Like, I really don't mind talking about income. I know some people get a bit timid about it or don't want to talk about it, but I'm more than open to talk about income
Okay.
and how much money we got.
So let's go into that just a little bit. And if at any point you're like, I don't want to talk about it, just tell me and we'll chop it out.
Yeah, easy.
Because some people's very, very
Yeah.
anti that. And so with the grant,
Yeah,
was,
all the guys on ranching for profit.
yes.
It's called ranching for profit, but like you hear these guys are like, don't ask people how many cows they got because that's asking how much money they got.
I know. It's this traditional thing, and some people are very, very sensitive to it.
Yeah, I always thought that was a Catholic thing, like money's evil. And I thought the Protestants would be more open about it, but all these Protestants in the Midwest, they don't want to talk about money at all.
And the thing is, we got to talk about money
right?
So we can figure out what to do. Yeah. No, I get it.
Like I said, both my North Stars, always talking about money, always talking about labor budgets, always talking about income, overheads.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons I want to talk to you, and I appreciate, getting the gig, but it's for anyone that was like me, and you're like, well, how much does it cost? How much are you making when you're in your research period, and you can't find them figures anywhere?
Oh, yeah.
Well, rarely.
Yeah.
So, all right, where do you want to go from?
Okay, actually, let's just continue on that journey. You were able to get that EU New Farmers Grant. Was that enough money to buy your land and get you set up?
Okay. So, taking it back, we're in Lugo.
Yes.
We're renting an apartment. We've done 6 months of searching. We found 2 places out of the 50 farms that we looked at that we were like, this could be it. One of them was owned by 2 cousins that had inherited it, and they were just squabbling on price.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they wanted about 150,000, and we were like, no, 120, that's all this is worth. And then one of them was quite happy to sell it, and the other one wasn't. And then we found another place, and he wanted about 180, and we got it down to 160,000 euro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the 6 hectares that we're on now. And this house, and when we bought it, is kind of the story of the interior of Spain. This place had been abandoned in the 60s when they opened up the economy and agriculture went to large-scale mechanization. Everything kind of became modern in Spain. And then you have the flight from the internal parts of Spain to the coast where all the factories were, because that's where the money was. And, most agriculture was shedding the workforce because you didn't need it anymore. You had a John Deere.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right. So this place is abandoned in the 60s. The 1 hectare, which is, look at my notes, 2.5 acres of pasture, that was just used and abused corn crop for the corn silage they do for the dairy sheds down the road.
Oh, yes.
And then most of the 5 hectares of forest I have, which is 13.5 acres, these all used to be pasture, but the trees that lined the boundaries as these plots were abandoned, because you couldn't get the machines in there, the trees on the boundaries just crept in over the last 60 years. So now I have 13.5 acres of oak, chestnut, and birch, silver birch. And that's where I run my pigs, and I put the sheep in there as well. So we got this place for about 160, which we put all the money, because we've been saving for years to come here, make this reality.
Oh, yes.
We put everything we had in, and then Inez's father was kind enough and believed in us enough to help us secure the mortgage.
Oh, great.
And then because of his age, we're on a 15-year mortgage.
Oh, okay.
Which is intense.
That is
a lot
intense.
of pressure. But I'll be out of debt by the time I'm 50.
Yeah, which at the beginning, 15-year mortgage, those are some larger payments, a little bit tougher to do. But in 15 years, you will be so happy you did that.
Yeah, well, this is the pigs cover it.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
So when you all got out there, did you have to do anything to the place to get it ready?
Yeah, did we? Yeah, needed a septic tank. The sewage just ran raw into the forest. The house was just damp, and we had all these pine trees in the front. So a lot of stripping back. We kind of done our run on the mortgage, so we had very little in terms of ability to buy tools or tool up. We had all the hand tools that had been left behind from the 1960s.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a lot of hand scythes, a lot of rusty blades, but
so.
2/5 of FA really.
Yeah.
And that's where we started. So we bought the land, we bought the house, we got the septic tank in. We got here in February. It's the coldest month of the year. We couldn't get the fire started in the range behind me. The the gas oil heating system that runs the radiators didn't work.
Oh, no.
We didn't have a bed. We had the bed that the house came with, which was from the 1960s and built for Spanish people who are maybe 160, 170 centimeters tall.
Yeah, they're not
Inez
quite
is
your
180.
height.
I'm 191. We were in this tiny bed, -5 at night, both of the dogs on us, every blanket in the house on us, holding each other in the night. It was a rough start.
Going through some of those nights like that, did you think we've made a mistake?
No, never.
So what were you feeling at that time? Because I know
Cold.
you were feeling
the
what?
bone. Cold.
Cold, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
feel
True, yeah. Outside the code.
It was only 5 nights, right?
Oh, yeah. That's not bad at
But
all.
I was waking up 6:30. We both get up. We both still had jobs in Lugo. I was working in a metal fabrication factory. So working on the laser cutters and then the hydraulic presses.
Mhm.
And then Inez was in a retail store managing that.
Oh, yeah.
And so to qualify for the grant, we had to have the property, we had to apply, we had to get in a bunch of agricultural accountants to get our paperwork in order. Like, I'm not sure what it's like in the States, but in Australia, you can more or less do your own taxes.
Oh, yes.
Here, it's impossible. The bureaucratic language that you have to be familiar with, you have to go, like, you legally can't file your own taxes here. You have to do it through an accountant. And it's one of the hurdles of life here is that these people have no accountability. So a little example of this, we got that 30 grand or 30,000 euro to start the farm. We had a year in which we got the grant and we had to get the farm up and running. And we had a certain number of animals for the 3 animal enterprises that we were running that we had to have by a certain date. There's an ancillary grant to the new farmer grant where the Junta of Galicia will cover all your initial purchases of your animals. Too good to be true, right?
Yes, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it would have been. Our agricultural account didn't tell us about it.
Oh.
So we spent somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 euro that we didn't need to. And that was 6,000 or 8,000 euro I had to beg, steal, or borrow from family.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
disappointing to find
again,
out about
lucky,
that.
very lucky,
Yeah.
but very unlucky.
So you mentioned your 3 livestock species. Did you,
Yeah,
was
the
that
3
part of the
enterprises, yeah.
grant that you had
Yeah.
to do 3 livestock species?
Not specifically, no.
Oh, okay.
But when, like, Richard Perkins has those egg-laying enterprises,
Yes.
and we thought, no matter what we did, you need that cash flow to get through the first 2 years. I hear the dairy guys on here, and they talk about shifting from dairy to something else, and they go, geez, you missed that paycheck coming in every 2 weeks.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, you have all those bumps and hiccups along the way, and you need to replace stuff. So that cash flow from eggs we knew was going to be vital to the operation in the beginning. And then we kind of went from there. When we always knew that whatever land we bought would dictate what we could run.
Right.
So I didn't come in with anything other than the chickens. And I knew I needed 2 hectares of pasture to run the chickens. I ended up with 1, made it work.
And how many chickens did you have in mind versus how many you're running now?
So I've blatantly copied his hen wagons. Thank you, Rich. And he runs 400 in them. I could only get the permits for running 250, but I only wanted to run somewhere between 300 and 350.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
So
stop right
the
there,
complicating
Cian.
fact. Sorry.
You had to get permits to have the chickens?
Yeah. Yeah, I had to get permits for all the livestock.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, you can't just buy animals here, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So,
Was that difficult?
yeah, big time.
Well, what
Yeah,
made it
for a fella
difficult? Was
that
it
never
just
built fence before, I had to build just over half a mile of 6-foot fence for the pigs. And it's not like it was a rectangle. I could do it in 4 runs. I did about a kilometre of pick fence in 17 runs. So instead of doing 12 big posts for your straining posts, I had to put in, 17 times 3?
Yeah. And
I'd put in 51.
you dig all those holes by hand?
I did it with an auger,
Oh, okay. Well, that's a step up.
but I cut down all those posts from a chestnut stand.
Oh, yes.
I did that with a 40-volt electric chainsaw from the discount German supermarket.
Actually, I've been pretty impressed. I've got one of those electric chainsaws or battery-operated electric chainsaws, and I've talked to different people, and they're like, well, the battery doesn't last long enough. You know what? That's all I want to work anyway, so it actually works better than I thought it would.
I ran that electric chainsaw and the electric brush cutter I got, and they were like €80. So I think it's 1-for-1 with American. So $80 got me a year,
Yes.
and I ran it into the ground. I did so much with it.
Oh, yeah.
I bit the bullet, and I went and got like a serious chainsaw and a serious brush cutter, and I'm very glad I did. But
Oh, yeah.
you got to work with what you got.
You do. And actually, one of the models I heard, I don't even know where, people talking about tools and stuff, they're like, buy cheap tools. Because some people's like, buy quality tools. The model I heard that I think's the best, and this is a complete tangent, and Cian, I don't know if I'll leave it in here or not, but
Yeah.
the model I heard that I think is the best, it says, buy cheap tools. And then when that tool won't do what you need, or you've used it up in that it won't work for you anymore, then you buy an expensive one of that type because you know it's something you need.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. So we've got a German discount supermarket here that has like an enormous garden and hardware section. So I think it's comparable to your Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's the low end, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm saying tools, I'm thinking Harbor Freight cheap tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you're going to need a jigsaw one day, right?
Right.
Are you ever going to need it again?
You know, that's iffy.
Maybe not.
I have a 20-volt one over here that I've used like 3 times.
Mate, I've built all my infrastructure with Ryobi,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I have so many tools that, like, I've bought them, I've used them twice, they've gone, into the garage, and then one day you're like, oh, thank God I have that.
Oh,
You rip it out, use it, and then it goes back to the doldrums for a year.
Yeah. At Redmond, we know that you thrive when your animals do. That's why it's essential to fill the gaps in your herd's nutrition with the minerals that they need. Made by nature, our ancient mineral salt and conditioner clay are the catalyst in optimizing the nutrients your animals get from their forage. Unaltered and unrefined, our minerals have the natural balance and proportion that your animals prefer. This gives your herd the ability to naturally regulate their mineral consumption as they graze. Our minerals won't just help you improve the health of your animals, but will also help you naturally build soil fertility so you can grow more nutrient-dense pasture year after year. Nourish your animals, your soil, and your life with Redmond. Learn more at redmondagriculture.com. We'd gone on our tangent on the tools, but let's kind of jump back into the journey. You get there, you knew you were doing egg layers.
Yeah.
You all get the land. What did the land tell you you should run?
So we had 1 hectare of pastures, that's 2.5 acres. And then we had the 13.5 acres of forest. And the forest is dominated by oak and chestnut. And then there's a little bit of birch. There's a little bit of elderflower trees in there, and then wild cherries. And it just screamed like forest-raised pigs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because we have a road that cuts to the middle of our property, and it's what's called a royal road here. And the royal roads are basically, for our little hamlet, that road went to a spring that's in the forest, and that's where everyone would have got their drinking water from. And then that road continues down to the river, and that's where all the women would have done their washing. It's quite wild because there's all these stone walls everywhere, and you kind of realize, like, people have been living and farming here for millennia.
Oh, yeah.
It's 3,000 years of continuous habitation here. And coming from Australia, like the indigenous people have been there for 60,000 years, but until you get to like the cave paintings and stuff, there's no real marks on the land.
Right.
So like when I went and saw my family in Ireland when I was 12, and my cousins had a Norman fort at the back of their farm, we were like, this is crazy. Like the closest I ever been to a castle was a Lego set.
Right. Yes.
But to see like history in front of you, it's something that's really charming about this place, and why I love this property, and we fell in love with this property, because you just have the marks of the people that have lived here before you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
One of the concepts I'm running here is using the bird life as sanitation, trying to push down all of the flies and
Oh, yes.
through wild birds.
Yeah.
So like I have a leader-follower system with the chickens and the sheep, but I'm trying to keep as much of the native wildlife here as I can, trying to find that equilibrium in the ecosystem.
Right. So that's kind of, follows along that Greg Judy model where he's got the birdhouses
Yeah.
out in the pasture and stuff.
Yeah, and the rabbitats and all that.
Yeah.
I love that man. I love him so much.
Oh,
He's a gift. I don't think I could do any of that stuff that he does, because like he does it on such a big scale.
Oh, yes.
And also like when he talks about buying those first 300 and then 30-40% of them die in the first year to really cull down those genetics.
Yeah.
My wife would not be up for that at all.
Right. Yeah. And we'll get to your sheep in a little bit, but yeah, just crazy. But even on my sheep journey, not working with the numbers he's working with, those first sheep, we had to cull really hard. Some of them culled themselves, but we had to cull really hard to get them to a point where we're pretty happy with them, and we're still working on it.
Yeah.
We've spent some money trying to get a hardy flock in here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you worked with these, I don't even remember what you called them, these agricultural
Called Pastures,
What are they called?
agricultural accountants. or
Agricultural
technicians.
accountants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So with the gestors, we had the plan for the chicken, and then I lined out about 3 or 4 other enterprises that we were interested in doing. And then the way it works to qualify for this grant, you need certain amounts of animal units on land, certain productivity. So we had thought about having the vegetable garden in the market gardener style of Jean-Martin Fortier and Richard Perkins, and they weren't going to give us anything for that. But they were going to give us a huge amount of money for the pigs, and that's what led to the pigs. We had the right land for it,
oh, yes.
and the weighting system of points there worked towards that. There's also like a big revival of the pig breed that we have here, and the junta, which is our provincial government, has thrown a lot of funding behind it. So that really pushed us over the line in terms of qualifying for the grant. And the sheep kind of just got us over. So I wasn't really ever thinking about sheep, but we needed something else. We couldn't just have the pigs and the chickens.
So for them and for this grant, they're not interested in market gardens. They're wanting
No,
that
absolutely
livestock.
not. Yeah, boutique veggies doesn't really cut it.
Oh, yeah. So when I think about a market garden, I think the potential for selling direct to consumer and making money is greater in a smaller area than livestock. Livestock just requires more space.
Yeah, there's that trade-off between, you can put 40 hours into the garden a week and you can make an income, right?
Right.
And you get a weekend off. But
Yes.
the infrastructure you need, the water, like it's not that easy. Whereas like you can drop a bale off to a flock of sheep and make sure the water's working and you're grand. But you got to do it every day. There's the trade-off.
Yeah, and
Like when I started doing a deep dive on the numbers of what we would need to start and maintain a market garden, without the funding, it wasn't possible for us.
oh, yes. So it was cheaper to get into the livestock, or was it just that you had this other money coming from them that made it possible?
We needed the grant from the junta or the EU to start the livestock, but with that grant, it was an easy thing to go for the livestock. But without that grant, we would have been working for years to save up enough money to start the market garden.
Oh, yeah.
And once we had bought the land, we wanted to start as quick as possible and start earning income from the land.
Right.
So it was 2 years from the day we bought the property to the day that we qualified because like they give you half of the grant, they expect you to get it up in a year, and then they give you the next half. So then you have to go to a bank and be like, can you give us the second half? And then you're paying interest on that loan, and then that money only gets released once you get inspected. So they were meant to be in here, I think in June for the inspection, the final tick. They were 3 months late. If we were 3 months late, we would have had to give all that money back.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't work in
Yeah.
reverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took
Yeah.
2 years just in that process.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a year of going to the hair stores and trying to drill out plans. It was tough. It was really tough.
So how
It was
long-
quite the grind.
After you, was it 2 years before you were able to purchase livestock, or were you able to get those in a little bit earlier than that?
So it was a year of planning and waiting for the window to come around to put in the application. Then it was about, mate, I'm trying to get my dates right here. It was a bit of a mess. We had a baby in there as well. So bought the property. We had to wait a year to apply. We got into that window. We got granted about 6 months after that. So that was about June. And then from June, we had a year to get all of our permits for the livestock and get all the livestock on the property.
Oh, okay.
And then get that second half of the grant released. And so that all happened in June last year. We were done. We got all the animals on, all our infrastructure, all of our papers done. And I was a full-time farmer. Like within maybe 2 months before that, we had nothing. And then 2 months after that, bang, every day.
Oh, yes.
It's been almost a year of every day on the farm being full-time.
So when did you start making enough money to be there all the time?
So we got cash flow positive 3 months in. And that's all off the back of the chickens.
Oh, yes.
Because that first month you have the chickens, you get them pullet layers. It's 6 weeks old. They start laying a month later. Well, like they should all be laying 4 to 6 weeks. But because of the egg prices shot up because of all the fertilizer inputs going up because of the war in Ukraine.
Oh, yes.
So the knock-on effect from that was everyone was buying chickens or buying pullet layers because the price of eggs went up in the supermarket. So we should have been buying 16-week-old chickens, but some of them are more like 14, 13 because the demand went up. So some of them didn't lay for 6 weeks. But by 3 months in, we were selling enough eggs direct to consumer that it was paying all our bills. So when that money comes in from the pigs that we're selling in June, that's clean profit because all those expenses were paid by the chickens already.
With the chickens, did you find there was a ready market for the eggs? Or how
Yeah.
did you develop
Yeah.
that market?
Yeah, well, I mean, we turned up to the local market on Fridays and Tuesdays, and people looked at us a bit funny. But eventually, word got out. We did an interview, like a long-form interview with the newspaper. They gave us a full page on the Sunday paper, and then our social channels just went up. This, like, I don't know what it's like in the States, but the newspaper's a dying commodity where I'm from.
Right.
But here, people still read the paper.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so, yeah, once we got a bit of publicity, everything kind of took off. And then we just started going to big Sunday markets. Inez had a job in town, and through that family, the Castro family, who's looked after us so much on our journey, I really can't thank them enough. They told all their friends, and all their friends want good quality produce and have the money to pay for it. So I should probably talk about pricing here. At the moment, we sell a dozen eggs, and they're eggs from the field, or pasture-raised eggs, for €4. You can get the battery hen eggs for a dozen at about €3 in the supermarket, and then to get pasture-raised eggs in the supermarket is about $5.20. So we're coming in at good value, and that's enough to get us about a 50% profit margin, maybe a little bit more, maybe 55. And with that margin of profit, which can only come from selling direct to consumer, you've just got a lot of wiggle room if things go wrong. You know, it's covered all our pig feed. It's covered some of the incidental costs we've incurred from needing to get stuff for the sheep. And we've paid our bills.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. With those eggs and selling them, in the community, are there other people selling eggs? And here's the reason I ask you. When
Yeah.
I think about selling eggs here, you know, my uncle's
Everyone
got chickens. My parents just get them
Yeah.
from him. Someone
Yeah.
else, I got a nephew, he's got chickens. People get them from him. In town, I see people with eggs for sale listed on Facebook or something all the time. I just feels like the market's saturated. So if you came in trying to do it, it'd be difficult here. But there,
again, I
was
think
that
this
not
is-
the issue?
No. Again, regional context, right?
Right.
Really matters. When you get to Europe, they've had like land boundaries and designation of land uses for a really long time. You got to think about the population density. And so, like, the town of 10,000 I live outside of, it's so condensed. There's like 6 8-story apartment buildings. In the town my mum lives in, it's 10,000. And it's sprawl. It's like rural sprawl. You get some double-story houses, but there's no apartment buildings there. And the size of that town is probably 4 or 5 times larger in terms of land area than this town of 10,000. So you get a lot of, say, white-collar professionals that are in the office 45 hours a week. A lot of them aren't from here. They've moved from somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
you get a lot of people that have good money that want good produce. The vast majority of the town has an uncle, a cousin. They have chickens, but they have old chickens. So in winter, a lot of locals buy from us because their chickens stop laying.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm refreshing my flock every year to keep that productivity up. And then in the summer, you have like all the people from Madrid or the people from the south that are escaping like the hot heat and the tourist crowds, and they come up to Galicia for relief
Oh, okay.
and to spend the summer here. Or they're from here originally, or their grandparents are from here. They have a house, they return, they don't have chickens here, they buy our eggs in the summer.
Yeah.
So there's like an ebb and flow situation.
Oh,
But yeah, it works. I mean, my production is about 105 cartons a week. So that's an income. If I sell them all at retail, it's about 420 at a minimum income a week.
oh, yeah.
That doesn't always happen, but
Right.
it's a high ceiling and it makes everything work.
Do you sell all your eggs retail?
No, I wish.
I figured so.
We're probably selling 60, 70% at retail. And then we have a few avenues where we sell them wholesale at €3. And then we've got like a Moroccan fella that if we can't sell them and they're getting close to due date, I flog them off at 250. I think he makes bread or something out of them.
Oh, okay.
But that 250 is covering all my costs and then some more. So I'm not losing any money on it. And it's only 10, 20% of the eggs at worst.
Oh, yeah. So you're able to
Yeah.
develop a market that he's flexible enough, he can take whatever you have left over.
He's constantly messaging me, old Abraham.
Yeah.
Do you have eggs? Do you have eggs? He's a nice guy,
Well,
but he's cheap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But that's
So
that's
the-
great.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that here. Context is so important. And
Yeah,
you looked
absolutely.
in and you went into it kind of when we go back to our earlier discussion about people being in love with different animals, cattle, you went into it with a very open mind. Outside, you knew the egg layers could be a regular income source. So that allows you to explore and make sure in your context, you're working with animals that work there. That's going to be profitable.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people told me it was never going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone has chickens. No one wants to buy eggs. But I just knew that, the methodology of doing all your animals extensively in rotation is your selling point. It looks great on camera.
Oh, it does.
Instagram's free.
Yeah.
Inez has a marketing background. The video quality you can get off an iPhone
Is amazing.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
So if I put that iPhone on the ground and I let all the chickens out of the eggmobile in the morning, that's one of the best ads you can make, and it's genuine. That's the egg you want to eat, right? From those.
Oh,
chickens.
that is. Yeah.
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 I have the pigs. Like less than a quarter mile from the back door of the house. Doesn't stink. You can't smell them. When people come here, which is kind of like, that's when you really get them. When they come to the farm and they see how you're doing it, it's the best ad in the world.
Oh, it is.
And
Yeah.
that's how we've gotten so many of our customers and our return customers. They see the farm, they see how the animals live, and they're hooked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then they're interested in whatever you produce at that point. Because,
Yeah.
yeah. So you get the chickens. Actually, before we leave the chickens, I always have to ask, what breed or hybrid of chickens did you go with?
Just the production reds.
Just production reds? Yeah.
Yeah, the ones you get from the ag store.
Are brown eggs in higher demand there?
I've not seen white eggs since I've been here, and I knew that we couldn't use white eggs.
Why?
So we have a nest box system inside the hen wagon where it's about a 15-degree slant on the floor, and then I've got like plastic doormats on the inside.
Oh, yes.
And they come up about 15 mil, which is just over half an inch.
Yes.
So if there is dust that comes off the birds, it settles down, and then you've kind of got these little kind of almost like blades of plastic that the eggs hit, and then they roll down. If you've got white eggs, it's very difficult to make them look good. So like when I collect my eggs, I have a steel wool brush or steel wool, I've got one here actually, bit of steel wool.
Oh, yes.
If there's any dirt or shite on them, I just knock it off.
Yeah.
And it's super quick. Like a lot of the old ladies, when they look at our eggs at market, go, how are they so clean? And it's because we've got those plastic mats. I shake them out once, twice a week, and then I use the pressure washer on them about every 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And that gets you clean eggs. So I don't really clean, like maybe 1 in 30 eggs, I have to knock a bit of dirt off. But that's it. Like I pack so quick.
Oh,
And
that
it's all
would
because of that.
make it faster. That system's going to make the eggs cleaner.
Yeah. Again, Richard Perkins. It came from Richard. Got to thank him for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, being there, you don't have to wash the eggs to sell them.
Nah.
Yeah. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, are the eggs typically stored on the counter or outside, not in ice refrigerator?
Yeah, so when you go to the supermarkets here, they're all on shelves. Your storage has to have like a stable temperature.
Oh, yes.
Like, if you're a producer. But yeah, I mean, like, I can't remember what it's named, but like there's the film that coats the egg.
Right, the bloom on it.
Yeah. So when you wash it, I think that damages that. And that's why
does.
you need to refrigerate them. Yeah.
Right.
So if you don't damage it, you don't need to refrigerate them.
Yeah. And
And
then,
they're good for 28 days here. That's the legal limit
oh, okay. Yeah.
from the day to lay.
And so in the U.S., you got to wash your eggs. And so they've got to be refrigerated. And now we've created whole generations of people who don't know eggs don't have to be refrigerated. So,
Yeah.
and
It's a sick-sad world.
yeah, I say that's my wife. I can't convince her these eggs don't need to go in the refrigerator. It's just an interesting phenomenon. Okay, so with the chickens, let's move to your pork. Is your pork profitable yet?
I'm still in my first year. So again, for the pigs, it's probably a 45% profit margin. And you got to remember when I talk about this, the money to set up the pigs, the fencing, the electrics, the house they have, that was all paid for by the grant.
Oh, yes.
So I'm not chasing any debt on that.
Yeah, so you got some infrastructure there
It's
you're
just-
not
They've got to
paying off.
cover labor costs, feed costs, and the cost of purchasing them, and then the next piglet to replace them.
Are you just growing them out, or are you doing farrow to finish?
So no, I'd never breed pigs. Not for a long time. So when I started this, I knew nothing. And I was trying to copy more successful people. So like we say the second rat gets the cheese. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I don't
Yeah.
know that I've ever heard that, but that's
Well, the first
I
one
like
gets
that.
the clap, the second one gets the cheese.
yeah.
Copy successful people, right?
Right.
You hear it all the time on these podcasts, an expensive education.
Yes.
I wanted to avoid as much of that as possible. So with the chickens, I got pellet layers and I'll replace them every year. With the pigs, I'll buy weaned piglets, all castrated males. Because one of the big problems here is boar. We have wild boar. And if you have a sow in heat, they're coming. So,
Oh, yes.
unfortunately, in my first batch, I do have sows. The plan was only to have castrated males. So I actually had a huge problem with one of my livestock guardian dogs. And he now lives with the pigs, which is handy for this year, but I probably won't need him after this year because I'll only buy castrated males in the next generation to come. But I've got a 95 kilo dog, which is about just shy of 200 pound dog out there with the pigs keeping the boars at bay, as well as my electric fences.
Oh, yeah. And that's has been successful at doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's scary. He's a very scary dog.
Yeah. With your pigs and finding feeder pigs, are they readily sourced where you are?
Yeah. Easy. Very easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So part of getting the grant was running this specific breed of pig, which is the Porco-Thelta, which is an autochthonous breed to Galicia.
Can you?
And
I'm going to show how bad I am at English, because I can't spell English words, and you just told me a word I have no clue how to spell. How do you spell that breed?
autochthonous, the breed or the term autochthonous?
The breed.
There we go. Porco-Thelta. So that's
Porco.
that's like the Spanish name for it. In English, it would be called the Celtic pig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a breed that's existed here since Celtic people got here. So what's that? That's about 2,000 years ago, I think. 2.5. Actually, maybe more. Maybe more like 3,000. But,
Long
it's
time.
like an Iron Age breed. And it was almost out of luck in the 80s. And then the last remaining remnants of it got put together. They made a breeding book. They're trying to bring it back. And these are pigs that don't do well in confinement operations or battery operations. They are outdoor pigs. And you kind of want to line it up. So when your pigs are about a month, 2 months out from slaughter weight, that's when the chestnuts drop, the chestnuts and the oaks.
Oh,
And so that last 2 months of their life, they are just putting on fat and protein from the nut drop.
Have you harvested a crop or harvested some pigs yet?
No, we're doing our first slaughter in June.
Oh, in June. So not too long, you'll have your first ones available.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, it'd be so good. So good to get that cash back.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. Yeah. Have
It'll,
have
Oh,
you
my God.
all? Have you started a waiting list? Have you pre-sold any, or are you waiting closer to that date?
So we had a bit of, to be honest, we thought that we would get them done in 9 months. Turns out you need 12 months to get them done. So we had
slower
we've got
growing.
about a quarter of them. A quarter of them we have deposits on, and I've got 3/4 that I need to sell. And we sell, like with the sheep and with the pigs, we sell on a per head basis. So there'll be a fluctuation in the weight of the carcass you get, but you're paying for the methodology rather than the end result of kilos on the meat hook.
Right.
That's how I've done it.
Yeah.
Potentially we might shift to a per kilo basis, but for now it's euro per head or dollar per head.
No, Cian, I love that. Everyone, and I say everyone, it's not everyone. Majority of people over here sell beef direct to consumer by the pound. Even if you're buying a whole steer, half steer, you're buying it by the pound. And I know I talked to my dad about this, and whenever we sell them by the pound. But let's just give a price. It'll be within this range. It's so much easier for people to understand that who have not grown up on a farm. Here's my price.
Yeah, and there's no surprises, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So I like that model.
thanks, mate. We'll see how it lasts.
Yeah.
So, again, going back to this direct-to-consumer model, we thought they'd be ready by 9 months. When we had the vet from the agro company that we buy the feed off come in, and I said, is this ration sufficient to get this breed of pig to slaughter weight in 9 months? And he was like, yeah. Turns out he's wrong.
Oh.
So I've got 3 months of feeding them a double ration to try and get them to slaughter rate. And I've got that room to take that hit. If I was a commercial producer selling wholesale, you know, that
Right.
wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, you would have lost all your
May
profit.
as well burn it down and claim the insurance, right?
Right.
Yeah. But this is, you know, like I said, I started knowing I knew nothing. So a lot of contingency planning within the numbers.
The other thing, by assuming you know nothing, is that you're more open to other people helping you.
What do you mean?
I mean, so if you grow up on a farm and you think you know what you're doing, you're less likely, in my view, to ask someone for advice or help. If you come into something, you're like, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm going to do it, but I'm not sure. What advice do you have for me? I think you're more open to advice.
Yeah, geez, I've asked so many people for advice and help. It's been 2 years of asking so many people.
Right.
And
right.
I'm very lucky. My neighbors, like, I think they look at this operation, they go, what's he doing? But at the same time, to see someone young giving agriculture a crack and having animals on landscape, they love that. They watched all of that die in their lifetime. Mm-hmm. I've got the first baby that was born in this barrio of our parish in 25 years. They love seeing that.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of goodwill from my neighbors.
Oh, I suspect so.
And, you know, I always tell them I'll return the favor, but they realistically, they don't need nothing from me. They're sorted.
Yes, yeah.
But, you know, hopefully one day I can pay it back.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah. So you added sheep as your third species.
Yeah, sheep just got us over and qualified for the grant. And, geez, the sheep, like, I like them. They're cool, but so many things have gone wrong with the sheep.
Oh, no. What breed did you go with? And what was the reasoning behind it?
So we have the Galician breed of sheep, the Raza Gallega. They are a very small frame sheep. The rams are about 50, 55 kilos. So that's what, 110, 120 pound?
Yes.
And then the ewes are about 40, 45 kilo. So somewhere around that 90 pound mark. They are a robust and tough, hardy breed. They're a wool sheep. They have the ability to forage in the woodlands. So when I put them into the woods, the first thing they eat is the ivy that grows on the trees.
Oh, yes.
They go that over grass. They go that over... The only thing that they prefer to ivy is grain.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason we went for that was we wanted a low-maintenance sheep, although I suppose anything with wool really isn't low maintenance when you've got all these hair sheep coming into vogue. But low enough maintenance for a wool breed. We wanted something that was hardy, and a lot of our like marketing is image based, right? So like the fact that we have the autochthonous pigs and sheep, it doesn't hurt. You know, we gave our farm a Galician name because it looks good, it sounds good. You want to fit in and integrate into the community. You know, a lot of like being direct to consumer, you have to look like a place where people want to buy from. And having this breed really worked. And then it's paid dividends, really. Like, for all of my mistakes and everything that went wrong with them, we're part of the Breed Society. And they gave us a call and they were like, you've just got $1,000 a year for the next 2 years for maintaining the genetic base of this breed. So earlier you were talking about culling and how hard you had to cull. I just had all my winter costs paid for by this grant that we didn't apply for. We just got.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm keeping an eye on all my sheep, and I know the moment that they're not paid for, which ones are going. But for now, it's pretty cruisy. I didn't plan on making any money from the sheep for the first year because, I mean, I've listened to so many of these podcasts and everyone's got problems with sheep. Like, I think it was you had a bloke that was big on, he was a dairy farmer and then he switched to sheep. And he's saying that first year, I wish I had 50, not 500. Sheep do things cows would never do. That's like burned into the back of my brain. I love that.
They are different. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So June to about December, everything was working so smooth. And I come into the house in November and Inez is like, we're doing really well. And I was like, yeah, it's not right. It shouldn't be this easy. And then knock, knock, knock on the door. So we had like the wettest winter that they've seen here for a long time. So normally in January, we get like 5 inches of rain,
Yes.
150 mil. We got well over 10. It was 45 days straight of hard rain every day. And if it wasn't rain, it was sleet, hail, or snow. It was tough. And in that time, one of the pigs died. I had 3 of the sheep die. And then my livestock guardian, Rocco, who's now with the pigs, he killed 5 of the lambs in one day.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was heartbreak. That was...
Oh,
geez, that
yes.
hurt. And then the Jenny, because I had the donkeys in with the sheep, she went into heat. And then the jackass really lived up to his name. He stomped on one of the sheep and severed its spine, so I had to get the donkeys out. Yeah. And there was right about then, they lost all respect for the electric fence.
Oh.
So then I spent about a month, once or twice a day, apologizing to my neighbors and chasing sheep. Yeah.
Well, just a real quick story. I put the flock behind my house in a little backyard area where I rotate some chickens around. And I put them in there and thought I'll leave them in there 24 hours. And then I haven't told my wife, I'm going to fence off the yard and let them graze it before I mow it. And I put them in there. And yesterday midday, I look out and a little bit, they're all out. I go out, I put them back in. And I fix where they got out. I look out and a little bit more. They're out again. So I go out and I fix another spot. And then last night I'm getting ready for bed and I glance out the window and it's dusk and I see a couple sheep out there. Head back out. They're out again. I put them back in. Luckily, they're still there this morning. But it was just a mess yesterday with them getting out. They found every hole they could.
Sheep have like an unbreakable spirit. Everyone talks about them being such like fragile creatures, and granted they're not cows, but unbreakable spirit.
Have you marketed any sheep yet, or is that more long term?
Well, the first 8 lambs that were born, 7 of them were killed.
Oh, ouch, that hurts.
So that was the donkey and the livestock dog.
Yeah.
Which was, man, heartbreaking. I worked with that dog every morning, every night for 7 months, no problem. And then one day he just killed 6 of them lambs. And like for how hard that winter was and to get through it and to get all those lambs, and like I had no complications with birth. They're all born healthy. Yeah, to lose them like that and to have to, face facts of getting rid of that dog. Yeah, it was brutal.
Did that make you reevaluate anything?
The dog, I guess.
It would. I had a dog. I brought in feeder pigs, and my dog killed all my feeder pigs. That hurts.
Yeah. It was a shock to the system.
Yeah.
But I got a new bitch out there, and she's doing great. And I've got the dog in with the pigs, which might be his forever home in Lomo land.
Do you think it was just the lambs, and he's not going to hurt the older sheep? It's just the lambs that bothered?
It was 7 months. 7 months with the ewes and the rams. Nothing happened
Never a
there.
problem. How old's your dog?
He was 3.
Oh.
So I had this fixed perception that, because we have wolves here, we have boar here, we have hunting dogs here, we have foxes here, and sheep are very vulnerable. So I knew I had to have livestock guardians. I'm also not allowed to shoot on private land here.
Oh,
it's a bit
okay.
different. Sure, that's a bit of a surprise to some of your listeners.
Yeah, I'm sure
so
it
I don't
is.
have a gun.
Surprise to me.
In fact, I've never touched a loaded gun in my life.
Oh.
But I do walk around with a big stick.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually saw a pack of 4 wolves chase a deer when I was building the fence to the pigs through the forest.
Oh, yeah.
It was like National Geographical in front of my eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was unreal.
And that's surprising to me, being in a more more densely populated area too.
Well, like I said, like the towns are so condensed.
That it's not so populated right where you are.
Yeah. So when we lived in Lugo, I lived on the edge of the north of the city. I could walk into the center of a city of 100,000 from the outer edge in 15 minutes. And if I walked 5 minutes north of where I was at, I was in fields.
Yeah, that's not
Like
the
it's a
case
hard
here.
edge to the urban development, and then you're in pasture.
Oh,
You know
interesting.
Shrek, when they walk into Duloc? It's like that.
Oh, yes. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Your wife, with her marketing degree, how has that changed what you're doing, or how does she approach it that may be different than what we usually see?
I mean, we're finding our feet. We are in our first year.
Right.
But like I said, the methodology is the marketing. You don't, like when you do this and you're doing rotational style of management and all your animals live outside, like I said, if you take someone here to the farm, you don't smell the farm. You don't smell the dung,
Oh, yeah.
right? You see the animals, you see the regrowth, you see where they were a month ago, a week ago, where they are now, where they're going. So you kind of just depict reality. I think that's, I know it sounds like a bit of a cop-out, like everything you see is real. But everything you see is real. Like when you see
yeah.
the videos, that's my day-to-day. You can kind of sell this lifestyle through the methodology.
So
Does that make sense? Is that an apt answer?
that makes sense to me. When you're doing these videos and pictures, are you sharing on Instagram, Facebook? How are you getting those out to the public?
So we are mainly Instagram and Facebook. I think as we move forward, everyone uses WhatsApp here.
Oh, okay.
So I could probably skip a direct email list and just have like a closed WhatsApp group where whenever we have lambs ready to go, we put it out and whoever orders first, first in, best dressed. So it would probably all be like that. It's somewhat similar to Telegram.
Oh,
But
yeah.
closed groups, we're the only people that can post. We post when we have it. You're in there, you can leave when you want. You don't get, bullshit messaging coming in all the time. Like that for me is a big thing. I hate when I click on a website and it's just pop up after pop up.
Oh, yes, I agree.
You got to have a no frills, easy in, easy out, easy to make a transaction sort of approach to marketing. And that works the best, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is time for our famous 4 questions. Same 4 questions we ask of all of our guests. Our first question, what's your favorite grazing grass related book or resource?
I've mentioned his name a few times. It'd be Richard Perkins' farming vlogs. That was the thing that really made me desire this lifestyle. Watching someone run a mixed operation, or mostly done extensively in rotational systems.
Oh, yeah.
Those videos were a huge comfort to me during COVID when I just had so much time, to myself. And I learned so much through those. I mean, I bought his book. I've got it here. And to be honest, I barely touched it because I just absorbed all the information through YouTube.
Oh, yes. I actually have
Yeah.
his book on my shelf too, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, gets a bit like that. But yeah. And then I think in terms of like entrepreneurial thinking, Mark Shepard on Scott Mann's podcast. I'm not a big fan of Scott, but that 3 episodes that Mark Shepard did there is exactly how you've got to think if you're in a position like me and you want to start and make your money from farming.
Oh, very good. I'll have to look up that series.
I listened to that interview maybe 9 times.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I love, a lot of times we listen to something a second, third time, and we get something different out of it. It's just the way our focus is and stuff. But those things that just keep producing, that you're listening to it and you're like, oh man, I never even heard that. That is so great.
Yeah.
Those are really
I guess
wonderful.
also maybe I'd shout out Frank Provenza.
Oh, yeah.
His work, it's very academical.
Mhm.
Like that language he uses is scientific because he is a scientist. But man, in terms of like my animal management, particularly with the sheep, Frank Provenza's definitely worth listening to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very good.
But it's dense. It's a tough listen.
Excellent resources there. Question 2, what's your favorite tool for the farm?
The linchpin of my farm is my quad. I have a Suzuki King Quad 700. Without that, the farm doesn't really work. But I mean, I'm just not a big fan of internal combustion engines. Like, because I have such a small property, if I've got my baby with me, I'll just put her in the backpack and I'll walk the feed out to the chickens or the pigs.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like when spring comes around, it's quite nice.
Yes.
In winter, I'm ripping around on the quad, getting it done as fast as possible. But I suppose it'd be the Bluetooth headphones. Getting to listen to fellas like yourself, just being able to listen to the music I like is a blessing when you're working every day.
Yeah. Well, excellent. And thank you for listening to us. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
Third question, what advice would you give to someone just getting started?
Pin down your numbers. Like, really do the research. Projection of cash flow, realistic numbers of production. You know, it sounds simple, but you've really got to have more income than you have expenditure. You've got to work the numbers. If you can't do the spreadsheet, I wouldn't start.
Excellent advice. You know, you said a couple of things that's just so easy, but yeah, so many of us
it's hard to do the work. That's why not a lot of people do it.
Yeah. You know, your income's got to be greater than your expenses. And the thing I see so often when people are talking about numbers or saying you can do this, you got to use realistic numbers. And sometimes I'm like, where did you come up with that number? That is not the number I can get anywhere near. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, top end of my egg production, if I sold 100% of it at retail, I wouldn't need to do anything else. But I'm so far away from that happening. Like, these first 2 years, it's all about stabilizing cash flow, building your client base, and just, you know, getting through it. Like, the hard part is not the production. The hard part is the selling.
Right. Yeah.
I know I complained or like told stories about, you know, how things went wrong, but yeah, production is not the hard part. It's probably getting the land and then selling the produce. And the paperwork here is immense. I suppose that's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
And you don't hear anyone go, well, the bureaucrats were lovely to deal with.
Right. Yeah.
That never happened.
They made it so easy to do.
Although I do hear really good things about France.
Oh, yes.
If anyone wants to, you know, chase the dream.
Oh, good to know.
Apparently France.
Yeah.
Although maybe that's just my wife saying that. I think she wants a chateau.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
It could be.
Very good.
I'm very impressionable.
And lastly, where can others find out more about you?
We have a very boring website, or you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Obico de Rio, which is Diego for the kiss of the river. Which, when we bought the property, I was sitting in a cafe, like practicing my Spanish, and I had a really good relationship with one of the waiters there, and I had all these names in Spanish, kind of translated from English, that none of them translated well, and he's like, "This is the only one that works," and it was Obico de Rio, and because like tall timber farm or like fat pig farm, they don't work in Spanish; they're all too wordy.
Oh,
so.
Yes.
We've got the Rio Ladra just coming in behind our property. We're kind of in a valley. So like when we were walking around here for the first time inspecting the property, we said that the river just kissed the edge of the property.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The kiss of the river.
Oh, very nice. And that was great to have someone who was fluent in another language read those and make sure you were on the right track.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just the story of immigration. You got to lean on a lot of people to make a new home.
Yeah. Well, Cian, really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us today.
Igualmente, Cal. Thank you.
One thing that Cian talked about that really stuck out to me, that he's not married to any livestock species. He is looking at his bottom line and making sure he can make a profit. And I think that mindset could be really beneficial for a lot of people, myself included. And I find it a little hard to take that step back and do that. I think he's on the right track with that. Before we wrap up, if you're trying to figure out grazing on your place, wrestling with your next move, or wanting to avoid an expensive mistake, I'd love to help. My over-the-fence call is a simple 30-minute one-on-one conversation where we talk through your situation, your goals, and what I'd do if I were in your boots. No fluff, no big program, just some help. You can book your call today on the grazinggrass.com website. And thank you for listening to the Grazing Grass Podcast, where grass farmers help grass farmers. More grass, better soil, happier livestock. Keep on grazing, and I'll see you next episode.